There is a storm on the eastern seaboard of the United States. It happens every year. I don't know why it makes news. I lived in New York City for uh, just under 20 years, 19 and a half years. And every year, the last bad one I remember was, oh shit, what year was that? 2015, maybe? I was in Brooklyn. I was in Williamsburg. And that was feet and feet of snow. I don't know. I mean, if you live in the Midwest or in Canada or Greenland or somewhere, you're probably like, yeah, whatever. You guys are pussies. You guys don't know what a winter storm is. But I guess it makes news because it's the it's where all the news comes out of. You know, New York is a news hub. So they're going to talk about it more than the Greenlanders get to talk about theirs. You know what I mean? I think that's the science to it, personally. Tonight, because you guys are all snowed in, I figured I'd do a live. I'm also the theme for the first while will be Adrian Barker's new video because I think he's an irresponsible prick. Sorry. Let's get real, guys. Let's not pull any punches. This guy's a fucking corrupt lunatic. And spreading misinformation. I'm sick of misinformation, you know. This weekend hasn't been a good weekend for misinformation, you know. Where we're told that what we can see with our fucking eyes isn't what happened. I mean, don't you feel disrespected? Don't you feel like your dignity is being insulted? Your very intelligence? Well, within the watch world, I feel as one of the larger contributors, let's face it, not the largest, but you know, in the top 20, maybe. I feel a responsibility. Somebody puts out some bullshit. My fear is that someone might listen. They can say whatever they want. They have every right to say whatever they want. It's a free country, free democracies we live in. But Jesus Christ, stop it. Because people will hear that and listen to it. No? So if you don't know, Adrian Barker put out a video. He's one of the bigger voices in YouTube. If he wasn't, I wouldn't care. There's lots of small channels who go on about the watch market being dead, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, they're just pounding sand and talking into an echo chamber because they have a couple of thousand of subs and nobody gives a flying fuck what they have to say. Guy like Adrian Barker, Britt Pierce, these voices go out. These are the Christy Noams of the watch world. Yeah? That's what these people are. So all I have to, I mean, I would rather not talk about these fucking cunts, but I have to. Because I feel a responsibility. I'm just going to change watch. I have the Breguet on the 7067 fucking work of art. This is the Breguet that I bought from that bunch. Beautiful watches. It's a bit more affordable than the Tourbillon. But I'm actually going to take it off because I'm putting on my Fidel because I'm in war mode here. When I'm in war, I wore my green and I'm putting on my Fidel Castro, because I'm not taking, just like Fidel, I'm not taking anyone's bullshit. There you go. There's the Fidel. Nice. I started a little late as well because I figure, people are, well, it's New York time, Boston time, whatever. You guys are getting hammered right now. I think some areas have a foot of snow already. That's wild. Did I say, I said Brigade. Did I not say Brigade? Sorry, guys. What did I say? I didn't say Brigade. What did I say? Somebody goes, do you mean Brigade? I don't understand. Ay. Rewind. Tell me what I said. I wasn't thinking. Brain farts, guys. It's okay. It can happen. Lots of people coming into the room because it's spicy. I don't know why some of these influencers feel the need to spread misinformation. I don't know why. I don't know why they do it. I mean, clicks is a clicks. Tell me it's clicks. That's what it is. I'll buy that, But it's crazy to me, man. I mean, you can tell me, sure, a solid gold piece from Rolex is not worth it these days. You can get it for way less in most cases, unless it's a Le Mans, Jesus, or like that. You can get it for way less on the gray. The two-tone piece is the same. Two-tone piece trades for less on the gray market, unless they're going to give you a heavy discount or promise you all sorts of things at the AD. Do not get a two-tone from them. They will offer you one. And that's the way it always was for years and years. There was only one period of time where that was not the case, and that was at the end of 2021. But a steel Submariner date still goes for a few grand over retail. Everywhere. I reached out to 2 people earlier tonight, 2 traders that I know, 2 dealers. And I'm going to have a guest or 2 on in a minute who can corroborate that info. Just fucking horseshit. Oh my God, what did he say? I don't know. Makes me sick. Because now what's going to happen? Tomorrow is Monday. And all the Rolex ADs are going to get calls from people going, hey, I saw Adrian Barker said, can I get on a list for a stainless steel Submariner? They're going to be like, no, that's not the fucking reality on the ground, kids. You've been duped by someone who needs to pay their rent based on the clicks they get. They have an incentive. It's not genuine. Let's bring in Brenny. Hey, Brenny boy.
Good evening.
There you are. How's it going? I'm great, man. How are you?
Tired.
Yeah, it's late. Sorry, you don't have to stay for long. I just figured I'd have you over for a few mins. You made a video on this earlier tonight on your channel, just reacting to Adrian's video. Brave boy as always. What are your thoughts, man? Let's hear it.
I can sum it up really easy. When I do a video, I'll spend days on it. Sometimes I'll spend hours editing. But when I saw his video at 3:30 today, it just wound me up enough to whiz that video out in under 2 hours, which means I'm angry and annoyed, and I just don't like misinformation just for clicks.
Right.
And when I'm annoyed, I move faster. So, and I'm not doing this for clicks, and I'm currently losing subscribers because the Adrian fan club are going nuts in my subscriber base. And if I cared about subscriber numbers, I wouldn't put videos like this out, would I? Same as you, because exposing this doesn't do us any good.
No. They'll be loyalists in the room right now going, "Oh, how dare you insult my icon, my legend," whatever the fuck they have to say. But come on, man, facts are facts.
Talking about facts, the latest information on the exact watch he's saying is
The
worth
Submariner
less than
date,
MS. Yeah, is the exact watch he is
the
saying in
most the
his
most
video.
sought after Rolex on Earth, maybe
Yes,
alongside the Pepsi or whatever. Yeah.
my grey market dealer, who I won't mention,
Hmm.
Watches of the Vale in Cardiff, will pay you £1,000 tomorrow above MSRP for as
Right.
many of them as you like. 50 of them, 60 of them, 80 of them. Just send them to Lee and he will pay you 1,000 profit on the watch tomorrow.
I got the same figures because I'm speaking in euros. I got 1,500. I said, if I go by the AD during the week and pick up a brand new sub date, which is whatever it is here now, it's almost 10,000. They're selling them for 12,995, like basically 13,000. That's the price, and they're fairly firm. I'm sure maybe you can offer them like 12,750 or something, and they might just go for it. They're relatively firm on a sub date because a sub date is the chocolate cake of fucking Rolex. It's what everybody wants. It's the Gibson Les Pauls, the Fender Strat. It's the classic. Everybody wants them. They've remained firm for so long. So I was given 1,500. That's what I was told, because they'll make their 1,500 then. There's about 2 to 3 grand to be made on these watches. The date versus the no date, whatever variation. It's not a massive, like I heard Adrian Barker go, you can no longer make a massive profit. Well, you never made a massive profit from a sub. That was never the case.
Hang on a minute. Does anybody think that £1,000 profit's not massive?
Well,
Who makes
in
£1,000 a
comparison,
day?
in
Who makes
comparison to
£1,000 a
like,
day?
yeah, I know exactly. You're right, but in comparison, maybe to the Pepsi, where you can nearly double your money, or the Daytona, where you can triple your money, or the Le Mans, where you can quadruple your money, or whatever. Perhaps you might look at 1,000 or 1,500 bucks as not a massive profit. What I'm trying to say is, even when there was the spike in the market in 2021, 2022, and things were going haywire, the subs weren't, it was never that. It was a few grand. That's what you could make, which is amazing that you could walk. You shouldn't do this, by the way, anybody watching. You might get blacklisted from your AD. But if you are so inclined, you can walk in to an AD, pick up one of these if you're so lucky, and walk down the street and immediately make a profit. And as you say, Brenny, $1,000 ain't fucking bad, right? Or in this case here, about 1,500 euros. And that means if you can find a buyer yourself, you don't go to the gray market, you go by yourself and you just try to flip it yourself on Chrono, you're looking at even more. The gray market guys are going to give it the lowest possible because they need their margin on top. You're talking about two people trying to make money here. If you cut him out and you're lucky enough, maybe like me, that you have an audience and you can talk and show and, advertise the thing, you're looking at making 3 grand, 2,500. That's still the case. Why the fuck would he go up on his channel and make a video saying what he said? I don't get it.
What incenses me is I'm a collector. This is not to show off, but this is some of the watches I have. You're in backwards, aren't you? But I don't know if you can see it. So there is a Starbucks there. There's a classic Long F Submariner there. There's a green OP. And some of them are bought in the grey market. Obviously got the Daytona. And I like to deal in facts. And the main reason I got annoyed, I think you already said this, was there are people that are waiting for Submariners. There are people that have been waiting 5 years, 3 years, whatever. You can't get a Submariner without a buy history. And now half of them tomorrow are going to be ringing their AD saying, listen, I've been waiting a long time. What's the chance to get me watch? And then you've got the other people that are chancing their arm that now want that 800 profit or whatever. And they're going to use his video as
ammunition. Yeah.
He was very clear in that video that there's no profit in a Submariner date today, right? He was very clear that the grey market dealers are going to be discounting them below MSRP to bring in the punters. That's exactly what he said. He was very clear. You can. I mean, obviously, you don't want to play the video, but
No.
and that kind of stuff just incenses me because there's no checks and balances on YouTube. You can just make up stuff. And there's nobody saying, well, that's not the truth, Adrian, so we're just going to take that video down, Adrian.
Well, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing this, because I feel like we're other players. We're in the same genre. We're in the same room. If no one else is going to stand up and say, I mean, the dealers aren't going to say it because it appears like they're doing it for their own interest, because obviously a gray market dealer, you know, they don't like that kind of info going out there. And I'm not defending the gray, like none of us really like the gray market very much. We certainly don't like the flippers. No one wants to defend the flippers. But the truth is the truth. You can't bend the truth just because it suits you, which definitely seems to be the case with Adrian Barker. He's always had it in for flippers and gray market players and so on. And yeah, they're not particularly savory people, but he has this extra sense of revenge against these people, and I think that's a driving force inside him. I'm going to welcome John into the room as well, because he has strong thoughts about this and just made a Substack exactly about this.
Well, that's why I'm here. I'm here to correct the record, and I'm all about intellectual honesty. And I recently wrote an article saying that there is a myth about the watch market dying, and apparently that's not the case. They're giving Submariners away, and profit margins are down, and you can ask for discounts at the AD, and you'll definitely get a discount at the gray dealer on all the popular models. So I just wanted to come on and publicly change my tune here.
Yeah, because man, Adrian said so.
What is going on? Bernie, good to see you, man. I feel like we haven't talked in a while since the Avanti saga. No, I'm good. I just got done digging myself out of about a foot of snow. So it's and timing is everything. I was just thinking about this because Oshin and I spoke only about watches for a change at length. And this one of the things that I covered, that there's a certain group of commentariat about this topic in YouTube that they're just kind of going with whatever the winds are, whichever direction the winds are blowing, they're kind of just jumping on those waves. And this kind of just proves the point again.
Guys, the Substack is johnlrichard.substack.com. The link is in the chat. And you can go check out a Substack. And the recent one there is called Another Tourist Trap, the Dead Watch Market Myth. That's quite interesting. He also has lots of other stuff, very interesting observations about things that are going on today in the news, etc. If you want to check that out. And of course, we have Brenny Boswell, who has a great watch channel as well. I'm going to pull that up too. And he is the fearless, unstoppable, unshakable Brenny. Do not fuck with Brenny. Do you mind me saying that, Brenny?
I don't know. I've got a few solicitors that have managed to get me to stand down, so maybe I'm not as brave as you might think. So
you're smart. You know when to walk away and when not. You know which fights to fight and which ones not to. That's smarter. I'm not sure I possess those.
That's just good tactics, Brenny.
Yeah,
that is just good tactics. So I will admit I haven't actually watched the video, but I'm hearing you guys describe it. It more or less sounds like I probably don't need to watch it to get the gist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know
what is the motivation? That's what I'm wondering. What is the motivation? I mean, he's obviously not affiliated with a gray market dealer. He, by his own admission, hates the gray market.
Yes.
I would be shocked if he was affiliated with an AD. So I don't understand the motivation. Is it just attention? Just to get clicks? Just to get views? Because he knows that's a sensational type of video to put out, and he knows that's going to get a lot of views and a lot of attention.
Well, listen, I know Adrian. I've met him a couple of times, at least once or twice in London. We've spoken. I actually advertised some of his stuff ages ago when he came out with coffee. I figured I'd do him a favor. I did a coffee video for him and so on. He even promoted me one time on his channel. So I'm not. He's not a stranger to me, you know. And my best guess here is it's a combo of looking for the clicks. Unfortunately, I know it sounds cliche, but I think it is one of those things. It will get you clicks. And also, he's always had it in for the gray market and the flippers. Not like any of us love those guys either, but he's really always had a certain malice toward them. And I feel like this is just that shit coming out again. He has this kind of giggly, excited look in his eyes when he's talking about this because he knows he has a large audience. He knows he has a broad reach. And of course, there are those poor fools out there who are going to hear what he says and believe him. And they're going to walk, as Brenny says, they're going to walk into the AD now tomorrow, being Monday, and say, hey, did you see what he said? Or, you know, like I made the video there weeks ago about, you know, his partner in crime, I think you can call her at this point, that fucking witch. Sorry, Britt Pierce, who's doing the same fucking shit. And they're going to walk in and go, hey, can I get on the list? Hey, I heard that, you know, soon enough, they're all going to be going for under retail and you're going to be giving them away. You're going to be chasing us down the street trying to convince us to buy them. And they're going to get laughed out at the store because that's not the reality on the ground. What the fuck? So I don't know. I don't know what his exact most motivate. Who the fuck knows what's going on in his head? But my responsibility, he has every right to say what he wants to say. And I have every right to come out and say and repudiate and say, guys, no, not exactly. Gold pieces, sure. Two-tone pieces, sure. Not all of them, but some of them. A root beer, not necessarily, although now that they've pushed up the prices, maybe, yeah, okay, now we're seeing. But don't fucking tell me that a stainless steel date sub or no date sub can be, you know, if you buy one at the AD, if you're lucky enough to pick one up at 2026 tomorrow or during the week, that you'll go down to a great dealer and he'll offer you less than what you paid for. Are you out of your mind?
Yeah, that's just insanity. And I mean, I will say this: none of this is personal for me. I don't know any of these guys personally in real life. I don't care. I mean, I'm sure they're all wonderful people, but I do think that everybody that has any authority in any space, and they combine that authority with a large enough audience, they do have a responsibility to provide truthful and accurate information to that audience. And especially when they're not prefacing what they say that, hey, this is just entertainment. I'm just having fun here. Don't take any of the things I say seriously. I'm not giving you a strategy. When you're actually talking about these things as somebody in authority about this topic, people are going to just inherently listen to you. And while they may not directly go to the AD and say, Adrian Barker said XYZ, they're going to incorporate that into their knowledge base and they're going to test those waters. And you're just going to embarrass people at the end of the day because they're going to walk in asking absurd questions and making ludicrous demands. And they might inadvertently, you know, ruin a relationship that was otherwise going to actually bear some fruit.
Brenny?
I have a completely different perspective on Rolex, and I know a lot about Rolex, but I would never talk about Christopher Ward because I don't know about Christopher Ward. And when Adrian said what he said about Rolex, it was just total nonsense to somebody who's in the game of Rolex buying and making decisions based on factual information. I'll give you two examples. I've just got a Starbucks from an AD, and I know I can sell it tomorrow for $800 more than I paid for it.
That's to a dealer.
Yes, to a dealer.
Not to an end user.
Not to an end user.
So you have two people trying to make the margin. Got it.
Yeah. But then on the flip side, and this is quite relevant, I just rebought a green OP. The newer version. I sold my green OP and rebought the newer version for £1,100 more than MSRP because I have inside information that tells me I can't get that watch.
Apparently, yeah, it's very long wait list, yeah.
However, I'm on the wait list for the blue one, which I can get, and I am getting in mid-July 2027, right?
Okay.
So I'm in. So when somebody who's from the outside starts talking nonsense and spouting, hey, Submariners are worth less than MSRP, and he even says something quite poignant that the watches will be there for us just to walk in and buy. I know he says it a different way. It just incenses me because he doesn't have the first clue what he's talking about. And he should just stay in his own lane. If he doesn't know how Rolex works, he should just not comment. But he came across like he was.
Does. He fucking, of course he knows. He's not stupid. The man is not stupid. He's not the most intelligent guy I've ever met in my life, I'll be honest. But he's not a stupid man either. He knows what he's up to. You know what I mean? So does fucking Bray Pierce. They don't know what they're up to.
Can I point out something that I think is really critical that you guys just did, which is when people talk about the market, I think there's a lot of caveats that people don't place on what they're talking about necessarily when the market is discussed. People differentiate between MSRP from the AD, and then they start talking about the gray market. But the gray market can be a variety of things. It can be a Rolex CPO. Let's just stick with Rolex for the sake of this example. It can be the Rolex CPO prices. It can be an established gray dealer like watches of, Bob's Watches or some other large online Joma shop, things like that. It can be an open marketplace, which is Chrono24, which is individual dealers and established brick and mortar gray dealers that also advertise on Chrono24. Or it can just be peer-to-peer sales, which is you put your watch on eBay and then you can ask whatever the hell you want to ask for it. Those prices fluctuate dramatically. And when you're selling your watch, those prices and what you're getting will fluctuate dramatically. So if you take a Pepsi and you bought it at MSRP for what, 11 USD at this point, near 11, 10.7, something like that. If you go to a gray dealer like Bob's Watches, they're going to offer you a lot less than a smaller gray market reseller that may not have a Pepsi in stock. They may not have one. Bob's Watches is going to lowball you. Joma Shop will lowball you. Those big online marketplaces will lowball you. You can put it on Chrono24. Chrono24 is going to take a chunk out of your profit, so that immediately lowers your take-home profit. Or you can go to a small mom-and-pop AD, and they might give you, $20,000, $19,500. Again, I sold a Pepsi after 2 years of wearing it with scratches and everything, and I got $19,500 in Orange County. I paid $10,300, $10,500, something like that. I bought it at the AD. So, okay, maybe it's not exactly double, but it's sure pretty close to double. I mean, I'll take the rounding error there and just call it double. Same thing for the Submariner. Submariner is not, no gray dealer is going to offer you 9.5 or 10 for a no-date sub if you walk in with box and papers and you just walked out of the AD. They may not give you 15 like they did in 2021.
Right.
Or 2020 or 13, but they're not going to give you MSRP, and they're certainly not going to give you lower than what you just paid for it at the AD. That's not a reality that we're living in. That may have been the reality in the 1980s, but that's not 2026.
It's a strange thing to me. It has to be, you've got to be careful with these YouTubers because they have a different agenda in many cases. And hey, I'm one of them, right? What's my agenda? Do I have an agenda? Back when it was, watches aren't assets and blah, 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 and I was fighting that war, I was accused of, because I had an Air King that I wanted to sell, that it was all because of that, because I didn't want my Air King to drop in value. I was like, I had like 50 watches. I think I give a shit about one Air King. Like, I'm going to ruin my reputation on this. But they suspect that you got to be careful when you're trying to defend the secondary market. You know what I mean? Because I do it, and I believe Brenny does it for the same reason, and that is, let's keep everything real. Let's keep everyone realistic. you know, there is still a wait list, especially stainless steel. Going into the AD, you get ignored. You have to be on a list. You have to buy other shit before you're even considered for one of these pieces, etc., etc. And putting out the info that was put out, what was it, last night or earlier today, Adrian, is just like giving people false hope, and that's just so damaging. It also might make people feel like fools for going gray. I support the going gray thing. If you're buying a gold piece, you should definitely do it because it's gonna, you'll save 10 grand, 15 grand. Same with two-tone. But if you want that stainless steel no date sub and it's 2 or 3 grand over retail and you just want to move on with your life, put it on your wrist and not have to play some fucking Rolex AD game, there's no shame in that. And I tried to put out that message because 1 in 100 or 1 in 150 guys gets that call and tells everybody about it. But the rest of us have to kind of go, oh, fuck, well, I'd like to watch now. I don't want to sit around and wait for 5 years or whatever and play their stupid game. And now they're going to feel like an idiot. When they see a video like that, they're gonna feel foolish. And I don't want them to feel foolish. The value of their watch, I think there's a misconception as well that people think they've been overcharged. The truth is, if you get it from the AD, you get the call, you've been undercharged. The regular price of that watch is the market price. That's the real price of the watch. You haven't been overcharged for the watch.
Yeah, you got a bargain.
If you buy it for 13, you can sell it for 13 or maybe lose a few quid. Roughly, you're getting the same. What other item in your life can you even get close to the same value back 6 months later or a year later? Nothing in your life. Your car, nothing. Maybe your real estate if it happens to go up. But in most cases, everything just loses its value by 50% immediately when you walk out the door. The fact that Rolex even close to holds its value, or in some rare cases goes above value, is astonishing. And for me, there's no shame in buying the $13,000 Submariner no date because it's still worth that. You haven't paid more. If you get the call, you just won the lottery. That's all. You just got a special. It's like getting an upgrade to first class just by accident when you're in the airport and you didn't know because you just got lucky. That's it.
You just charmed your way to first class.
That's it. That's all. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Please.
He led people to believe that the Submariner was available to purchase as a walk-in. If you step it back 2 steps, no AD in the United Kingdom will sell anybody a Submariner as a first purchase, which you pointed out. There has to be a buy history. So that's the first thing he said wrong. He used Submariner name to get clicks, and he full well knew that the Submariner was selling above MSRP on the grey market. And when I quote prices, John, I'm talking about if I was selling it to a grey market dealer, because I don't sell privately because people are just messers. So my prices would be what it's worth to just get rid of it now. But if Adrian had just taken the time to do some research, he could have said that the Air King is worth less than MSRP, or the Explorer 36, or the Explorer 40. He could have said that the Explorer 2 Black Dog is worth $1,000 less than MSRP out the door. And he could have given that information, but he chose the Submariner for a specific reason, to get clicks. And on my video, I haven't called him a liar, but I've done everything possible to say he's a liar in a nice way. But I still don't know what his motivation would be to tell people such a blatant. I'm not going to call him a liar. I'm going to say fib. I'm going to downgrade it to fib because I don't want to get anybody sued, right? Why would anybody do that? Why would anybody with any brains come on his own TV show and say that this thing is worth less than MSRP, knowing it isn't? I just don't understand.
Well, because nuance
motivation there.
Nuance is very boring, and people tune out. So if you just say you can walk in and get a Submariner, that's going to grab somebody's attention. But if you're putting in all the nuance that you just did, where you're delineating between specific models and this is available, and yes, this is technically a stainless steel sports model, but if you're looking at an Explorer 1 or a Explorer 2 maybe, or an Air King, those are realistic. But yeah, and it's the same thing in the US. And again, I travel all over the country. I have traveled all over the country. I stop at different ADs, and I've had various conversations with AD owners and salespeople. And yeah, it's more or less the same thing. No one's going to sell you a Pepsi or a Batman or a sub as a first purchase unless you're extremely lucky, extremely persuasive, and you have some sort of story. And even that varies by stores and varies by store policies, because the more corporate ADs have a much more stringent policy as opposed to the mom and pop ADs in the US. Mom and pop ADs, you can talk your way into a sub or a GMT as your first purchase. You better have a hell of a story, and you better be a hell of a persuasive person to make that work. But again, it's like Oshin's example. That's like walking up to the counter at the airport, buying a ticket, and trying to flirt your way to first class. It's possible. I wouldn't call that a strategy if you really want to get into first class. I would say buy the first class ticket or have a loyalty program with the airline where you can use your miles to upgrade to first class. But if you're going to roll the dice and call that a strategy, like say, well, I was able to charm my way into first class because I, made small talk with the flight attendant before we boarded, you just got lucky. And it's important to recognize that if you got lucky. Again, I got my Pepsi from the AD in 2021 as my first purchase. It took 8 months. I know I got extremely lucky, and I know a lot of things fell into place, and I know that my job had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to recommend that to people as a strategy. It's like a beautiful woman telling every other woman on earth, "Oh, it's easy to get guys." What are you talking about? I get hit on. I get hit on all the time. I always get free drinks. What are you guys complaining about? I was like, "Yeah, you're a fucking model. Of course it's easy. You're rich, famous, and you're hot." It's not a coherent strategy.
Love's Auto Detail makes a very good point. Can he prove he can buy one himself? Now, this reminds me of back when Britt Pierce was spewing her nonsense. And I was like going, this is because your husband has been buying watches since 1992. Okay, that's why you got because she was going on like, why are people buying Daytonas at triple the price? They're so easy to get, practically, is what she was saying. Like, they're not that hard. People are buying them. Why, if they're so hard to get, why are there so many on Chrono 24? And I was like, oh my God, you think that's a gotcha point, don't you? Oh my God. But I was like, yeah, because you've been grandfathered in through your hubby, who's 25 years senior and has been buying watches forever, try getting one yourself. And she actually did say, maybe what I'll do is I'll sign up with a different AD as a complete newbie, and I'll put in for a hard piece to show you how hard it is. Did we ever see that video? We never saw that video. It never happened. I don't know if she bothered. Maybe her hubby went, honey, don't waste your time, because you don't understand how or whether she actually did try and was super fucking embarrassed at the reality of it. My issue was, how is she making people feel at home? All these people who buy watches from Chrono and so on, she's making them feel like fools, because she's going, hey, it ain't so hard, guys. Look what I did. I got my, my Daytona, ceramic Daytona, a black dial, in 6 months. Well, how is everyone going to feel at home? They're going to feel like morons. Well, she got it because she had that extra advantage. As you say, it's like the model. It's this is the thing I'm looking out for with people, because God, man, the sub, the Note 8 sub, they still are rock solid, those watches. And anyone who wants one of the guys I was talking to earlier, he's in Mestre here. He's like, if you have one, I asked him the question hypothetically, but he got all excited. He's like, why, you have one? Which day? Let me know which day you're picking up. I'll take it from you immediately, and so on. Because that fucking watch will just go like that. I was like, no, actually, I'm just, it's a hypothetical, man. I'm sorry to get you all moist.
You should have started with that. Listen, this is a hypothetical.
I did it the wrong way, man. But they sell them. I mean, they have them in stock for a day, at max.
Yeah, dude, it's not even close.
They go out the fucking door.
Yeah, they can't hold on to them. I mean, I literally just talked to a guy who got the text. He was at work. He got the text for the no date sub. He got the text. He was at work. He called back an hour and a half later, and it was gone. They said, sorry. We have 30-minute grace period for these watches, an hour grace period for these watches. Yeah. I'm so sorry. We'll get you the next one. Keep your phone on. I mean, and this is a guy who, he's bought from them in the past. He's got other pieces, and this was for a no-date Submariner. And it was gone within an hour. They moved on.
Of course. Ready?
Right. I just thought of a funny story. Do you see this Starbucks there?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know I was getting it. And I forgot your story about you walk in and you get offered it. Of course, you're going to take it.
Yeah.
I'd asked for it. But my AD plays very cute. And I actually went in to get another watch sized that I didn't even buy from them. And we sat down, he sized the watch. And then he said, I've got something for you, but you don't have to buy it. And I'm like, okay. And out comes the Starbucks. And this AD is so good. I could have left the watch there. I could have paid for it, left it there, and collected it on my birthday, which is next month, and had it carded with my birth date on the card.
Wow.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But you never look a gift horse in the mouth. I literally said, give me the watch, there's your money, and I have to go with the bloody thing, right?
Yeah.
Don't give him the opportunity to find a reason
take yes for an answer.
Because I could have paid for the watch and left it at the AD. It still would have been my property, but you just don't know. It could have burned down, something could have happened, I don't know.
A motorbike goes through the window.
The whole point of this story is, this idiot is back at that AD on my birthday. So I could have actually had it carded 2026 with my birthday on it. But like you just said, you would just never do that. You would never say, oh yeah, I'll take it, but just leave it and I'll come back in 2 months and collect it. You never look a gift horse in the mouth.
No, it's like leaving your child with a stranger for 2 months.
Well, I had a little story in the back of
so
my
much
head.
could go wrong.
I tried on a watch at another AD, and they brought out a watch that they said was another customer's that had already paid for it and hadn't collected it yet. And I thought,
I've heard that story
I'm trying
before.
on somebody else's watch that they've paid for it. And then I just thought, when I was sitting there in the AD and I go, do I take it? Do I go? I was obviously going to buy it.
Yeah.
So I don't want nobody else trying it on, even though it's stickered.
I mean, God forbid they drop it.
It wasn't really that, but literally it was out the door. So that experience did actually happen to me. So like you said, but I have a buy history there, Oisin, and it's in the thousands. You just don't get offered these watches.
Yeah.
Well, I was about to ask, what kind of buy history do you have? 6 pieces, 8 pieces?
That piece I've got 3.
3.
So that would be like a 26 grand spend.
Yeah.
But at my previous AD, it was a 50 grand spend. It was about 27 just to get a sub date. The hardest one was a green OP.
Jesus.
The green OP was a nightmare to get. That was jewelry as well. That was 6 grand on jewelry. But at the time, the green OP was 12 grand on the grey market to buy it.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind buying some jewelry to get the watch I wanted, which I then actually sold for a 500 profit after wearing it for 3 years to then put the money into a new one.
Yeah, and this is another weird thing, like what you guys were talking about earlier. The idea that the profit margins are so astronomically high on some pieces, I think that causes people to not appreciate the fact of a $2,000 profit on something you've worn for a couple of years is insanity. There's no other market that replicates that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's very few exceptions.
Hermes bags.
Maybe Hermes bags, maybe some Porsche, models, but for the most part, nothing you're going to buy that is worth thousands of dollars, use for 2 years, and then try to sell to somebody else is going to go for $2,000 or $500 or any amount more than what you paid for it.
Even $50 less.
And especially,
amazing.
it's insanity. And the fact that we're so kind of disoriented by the prices of some of these models going double, triple MSRP, it causes us to lose sight of the fact that making $2,000 on $10,000, that's a 10% return. Like, that's fantastic.
Dude, you can
I
go
will
even
take that
farther.
any day of the week.
You can go even farther and just say making your money back.
Yeah, just keeping your equity.
Just keeping it is astonishing.
Yeah.
It does not happen with most things in your life.
And there's one other thing that irks me when people talk about the list. And can I just kind of give people a sanity check here and provide some clarity about the list? This isn't you walking into a deli and pulling a number and waiting for your turn.
Yeah.
That is not the Rolex list. There is no list. You don't walk in, tell them, "Hi, my name is Bill. I want a GMT." And they say, "Okay, Bill, you are number 1733 in line. We'll call you." That's not how this works. There is the actual list of preferred customers who get the call.
Yeah.
And then there's the other thousands of people who walk in, call, ask for a sub, ask for a GMT, and they get a polite hand wave of, "Oh yeah, thank you for your interest. We'll be in touch." And they are never contacted again. So the people that are waiting 5 years for a Submariner, they're not on the list. They're not on any list. The people that are waiting 6 months, 6 weeks, a year, those guys are on the list. The people that are getting the call are on the list. So you have to either have a really good relationship, interpersonal skills, a really interesting job that causes that AD to say, "Oh, this guy's a somebody. I think we might benefit from this." A local business owner, some kind of prominence in some sort of space, maybe a doctor, maybe some kind of, person of stature that they go, you know what? Yeah, we'll sell this guy because they see potential spend in you. If you walk in and ask for a Submariner and you pull up in a Mercedes and you're an attorney, they're going to think, "Oh, this guy's going to buy a sub. He's probably going to buy another, watch at some point. He's going to buy jewelry for the wife. This is worth our investment," and maybe giving him the sub as the first piece. Again, not in walk-in, unless you really are somebody, maybe a couple weeks or a month or two, maybe 6 months. But that's the real list. And that I think people need to get their head around, and they need to be disabused of the notion that you're just technically waiting in line for your turn and eventually they're going to get to you. That's not how this works. This is completely unrealistic.
There's a dark side to me as a YouTuber. You can see sometimes your influence. Sometimes you can see it actually happening. You got to be careful not to draw correlations when they're not there. But I feel like sometimes people just want something to be true, so they want to make a video about it. And a guy like Adrian, he has a big voice out there. He certainly does. You can't deny it. And a lot of people are going to be influenced by that. And this week are going to go to that gray market dealer and say, "You know what? I know I wanted that sub, and I know I was going to give you 12,000 for it or 12.5 or whatever. But you know what? No thanks. I'm actually going to wait for the AD, or I want to lower." He's actually going to have an influence. This is why the word is there, influencer. Perhaps he's hoping to push things that way, move things in that direction where people are going to turn down their gray market dealer and get more insistent now at their authorized dealer. And that would just make him very happy, because he hates the gray market. Again, none of us adore the gray market either. It's not like they're our favorite people, and none of us have a dog in this fight because none of us are gray market dealers. But it's like, I feel like it's almost when you want it to be true. It's like the crowd that are all like, "Oh, the watch market is dead and Rolex is dead." I mean, it's been going on now years. This shit started in 2022.
It's the longest death of anything.
I know. It was like
it won't die.
Yeah, it was like, "Oh my God, we're heading into a recession, and in 6 months they're going to be giving away Rolex. You won't be able to sell it for even half its price," and so on. here we are 4 fucking years later, and none of that shit has really happened. The market certainly cooled down and recorrected itself to where it was pre-hype, but it's, I mean, come on. Otherwise there wouldn't be guys with machetes and motorcycles trying to break into fucking.
Yeah.
I feel like going over to those guys and going, "Hey guys, stop for a minute. Haven't you heard what Adrian said? It's like these aren't worth anything anymore.
You're risking a
fellas.
lot of jail time for
Yeah,
very little
yeah.
profit.
Go to the bank down the street. It's better. You're better off." It's. I just wonder if it's wishful thinking coming out in their content creation. That's what I see.
I think it is possible that it's like a very minimal thumb on the scale type of thing too. That's also something that if your influence, if you're a real estate influencer and you're massive enough in that space, the things you say could actually have marginal or dramatic impacts on the market. And the watch space is a much smaller community of people. And, I think, guys like him or Teddy, they have a very, large platform and a large voice, and
Right.
they could, if they wanted to, start kind of pushing the market in one direction or another. It's like if he starts shitting on a brand,
Yeah.
it might impact the sales of that brand.
Yes.
So it's very possible, just like you or anybody else with a massive enough audience. If you start calling, I mean, look, you had Speedygate.
Yes.
Right. I mean, you were honest review about the bracelet being sharp, and it kind of became a thing in the watch space.
It did, and hey, look, the proof is in the pudding. When Britt and Adrian were shitting on Breitling approached them, and honestly, I'm astounded at their stupidity that they actually admitted that they didn't like Breitling, but then Breitling approached them and offered them, and then all of a sudden they were all like, "Oh, now we like Breitling." We're like, "Oh, gee whiz, I wonder how this works. You guys must be real honest reviewers. Oh my god!" But so they kind of said the quiet part out loud, which is astonishing to me. But anyway, they were shitting on Breitling. Why did Breitling approach them? Why did Breitling offer them a flight to go and see the factory? Because they know that them shitting on the brand is going to have,
because it was causing an impact. Yeah.
Even if it's small, it's something.
And unfortunately, whether we like it or not, YouTube and social media, it's kind of the new medium for information consumption and information delivery. So if you have somebody that's again, especially in a very niche industry like luxury watches, there's not that many prominent people. It's not that, I mean, it may feel oversaturated to us because we're, in this community, but if you compare that to other, products, makeup, cars, anything else really, real estate, it's not that oversaturated. There's only maybe a dozen people that we could probably all name that have large enough platforms that have some sort of voice in this industry. And so if one of those people, one of the big ones especially, and I would consider Adrian, I don't know what his, subscriber count is, but I would consider him one of the big ones in this space. If he starts, publicly shitting on a brand, and, I think, again, this is psychology. Nico Leonard pops into my head every time I think of Hublot.
Right.
And I don't even care about Hublot, but every time I think of that brand, I think of Nico fucking Leonard.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm not alone there.
Right. Brenny?
Right. Back to John about profiling the customers. John, you think you were profiled. That's why you were given the Pepsi.
Oh, 100%. Not only was I profiled, I purposely allowed myself to be profiled. I participated in that profiling because I knew it would work.
You absolutely were, because that's how Rolex ADs work. They sit there all day, bored out of their minds, and they Google you. But I have a story that I can't talk about.
And my guy told me he Googled me after I left.
Yeah, I deal in facts, not
He
bullshit.
was actually honest about it. He told me I Googled you was the minute you walked out. And I knew you were legit because you popped up on a couple professional career sites. So I knew you weren't bullshitting about who you were.
Right. So that's why I gotta tell you this, but this is a story I'm working on, and I'm going to try and say it without getting me in trouble because I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. But it's a true story I'm working on now, right? About the profiling. Okay. and the type of people they sell to, and that's why they will not sell a random walk-in with no buy history in the United Kingdom a Submariner date, and that's why it incensed me. I'm working on a group at the moment, and I'm going to say the name of the group, the ROYIGUTKIN Watchers Group. That's all I'm going to say on the group, and it has a membership of 20 to 30 professional people. They're operating in the United Kingdom now as we speak, and their only job as a part-time hobby is to go into Rolex ADs and buy watches. And they've been rumbled by Rolex in the United Kingdom, and all of their names, I have 4 of the names, but I can't reveal them, are now common knowledge to every Rolex AD in the United Kingdom, and they're all blacklisted without them being told. But previous to that, they were all considered to be good customers. And I found out that one of them had walked into an AD and purchased 3 watches, all shitters. And I said to the AD, but they're buying shitters. Let them carry on buying shitters. And they said, apparently, it's gotten so high up in Rolex that the entire group have been blacklisted. And it all happened because one of the members walked into a Rolex AD in the United Kingdom and gave them the fucking list of all the people on the list. And they're people who are professionals who have no business flipping watches. And they're going into ADs all over the United Kingdom, buying these watches with the ringleader's money. And they get as little as £250 to £300 per watch. But it's obviously a buzz or a game to them. And that's happening now in the United Kingdom and has been rumbled. But I'm not allowed to talk about it on my channel. I thought I'd take the opportunity to say it on here. I can send you all the information, Ocean.
Coming soon.
Because I deal in facts. I'm looking at the screenshots now. Lovely to see some of you on Thursday at our first ever AKL team dinner. Thanks to all who made it. This month we bought a record 143 watches. It's really cheesy as well. By the way, tell me to shut up if you want, Oisin.
It's all right. It's all right. Go ahead.
We sold like crazy. We're busier than ever. Not anymore, you're not, right? Great work to everyone who contributed. And they've got little thumbs up and hearts. And they've even got awards. Somebody got a bonus this month. I mean, I shouldn't really go on about this. Who got a bonus? Evram, AVROM. Huge congrats. £200 bonus this month. Do you want to know what watch he bought?
What's that?
Day 40 ice blue with diamond baguettes on platinum. Who the fuck buys them? They're shitters, right?
Jesus
Christ.
Then we've got another guy, I can't say his name, who hit the ground running with 6 watches in the past 2 weeks. He gets a £150 bonus. However,
£150 for selling these watches?
This is a bonus on top.
This is for them buying.
So this is somebody who's a ringleader who gives them the money, and they're doctors, solicitors. I mean, I've got a list of what their jobs are. The total opposite to what you would think is a flipper. And they do not know this, but they're all blacklisted. But it's gone to such a high level now at Rolex, United Kingdom, that every AD in the United Kingdom has a list of their names, but they don't know they've been blacklisted yet. If they're watching this show and they go back, and I said the name of the group, but I spelled it, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
They'll have to go back to about 20 minutes ago. Yeah,
that's fine.
Shane's gonna delete this as soon as it's it's 12 hours old.
but that goes back to your point, John. But all of these people were profiled, and all of these people matched the criteria, and they only got discovered because one of them was disgruntled, and he walked into an AD with the list, and they cross-referenced them, and then And it's now a big
Yeah,
thing going on at the moment.
and not only do they check up on you, they want you to check in, you know. So there is that consistent, again, that's why they call it an AD relationship, because it is sort of a weird relationship. The other thing, again, about the list and how it works, your salesperson is not the one allocating the watch.
Correct.
Now, this is another weird conception people have. Your salesperson is competing with all the other salespeople, and they have to go to the manager and arguably, in some cases, the fucking owner to get you to actually purchase that watch. And this was another thing that I didn't know, and I figured this out after I met this one of the, I think it was the second or third time I checked in person. I got pulled aside by the owner after I met the owner and the manager. The sales guy was completely out of the conversation at this point. And the manager in front of the owner told me, listen, we're going to get you what you want. I know you want a GMT. Is there any specific one you want? Do you want the BLRO, the BL, you know, which one do you want? I gave him a list of preferences and I said, listen, I'm not picky. I'll wait as long as it takes. And the guy said, listen, it's yours. It's just going to be a matter of time. We don't know. We could get it in 2 days or we could get it in 2 years. I don't know. But the next one that comes in that matches what you're asking for is yours. This wasn't the sales guy telling me this. This was the manager and the owner telling me this. So that's another layer most people will never encounter. This is the difference between the sales guy telling you what the price is and going to the finance department and approving the sales for the car with the manager. And sometimes they come back with a different price, but they have to get that offer approved. So this is another layer that I think people are not really aware of.
This had to be approved by the manager, and this is just a Starbucks. Even though my guy got it for me, he had to go and get it approved because they only get 11 a year of the Starbucks. So you're absolutely right. If there's 7 guys in the shop and they're all selling Rolexes and there's only 11 of these a year, that means some of them only get the chance to sell it to one of their customers per year.
Right. And they have to make that case. They have to plead their case literally, because my guy would check in with me and would text me and said, listen, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm fighting for you. I want you to get this watch. I know you travel. I know it'll, you know, be put to good use. And so he was checking in with me, not me texting him, hey, have you gotten a Explorer 2 or a GMT, anything with a GMT function yet? He was reaching out to me, letting me know he hadn't forgot about me. And he was literally like, he's like, look, man, I'm fighting for you here. And the owner liked me and the manager liked me, so I think I had a leg up there. But there is no way that I was the next guy on the list. I had walked in cold off the street. I had never been to that.
They just liked you.
I never bought anything from them. And in 8 months, I got a Pepsi in 2021. I know people that had way more spend, that probably had a decent relationship, that were also after that watch, that didn't get that call. But again, I'm concise enough to say that was luck. 100% luck. The stars aligned, I got lucky, and that's it. I would never recommend that as a strategy, and I'm certainly not going to go on YouTube and tell people, I don't know what everybody's complaining about. I got a Pepsi from the AD in 8 months, and I didn't even spend $1 on jewelry. What are you guys, why are they double on the gray market? That's so odd.
I got lucky with this watch on my wrist here. You know, I'd put in the interest and been by the store every now and then. But then they were closing down their stores. AP changed their policies, or their setup, I should say. Instead of having boutiques, they now have AP houses. It's like a hotel or something, and you've got to check in downstairs. You have to have an appointment. It's like a whole new level of snobbery.
If you think Rolex is rough, try to get an AP at list.
Yeah, like especially a Royal Oak. And but they were closing in a couple of weeks. I just popped in to say, hey, listen, I heard the bad news. I'm sorry to see you guys go. And the lady there, who's now still my representative in Milan, because they moved over to Milan, she was like, you're that dude they keep asking about. And I was like, okay, well, that's one leg up there slightly. And the guy, the older guy who you see in a couple of my videos, he's changing straps for me because I bought a couple of straps in there. He was like, oh, you once said that you wanted the green offshore diver. I was like, yeah. And he goes, I held one for you. And I was like, that's bullshit. You didn't fucking, you have my number. You could have called me. I didn't say this. This is my internal dialogue. I'm like, my external dialogue was like, oh, really? That's great.
The voice went up.
I'm just thinking, like, what happened is someone came in this morning and changed their mind and wanted the blue instead or something like that. And I just happened to walk in at the right moment, and I was the right kind of guy. AP, they like to sell to RT types and directors and auteurs and people like that. So it's different to the Rolex crowd. AP would like to stand by themselves. So I guess I fit the bill slightly. And boom, and they were also told, probably, I'm guessing this as well, that they're closing in 2 weeks and they better shift as much of their inventory as possible, clear it out, because otherwise we got to get the security truck to move in and pick up everything that's in the store and then ship it off to Milan. So they were probably briefed about that, like let's clear the store out before we have to clear the store out, literally. So yeah, look has a lot to do with it. We have a comment here from RMA. Calling him a piece of shit over some random claim is wild. It's not random claim. This is an agenda that some YouTubers have. Now, as I said earlier in the show, there are some tiny channels that they've literally built their entire audience on claiming that the watch market is dead and just the whole thing. And we know that they're appealing to guys who can't, sorry to be rough about this, but who can't afford a Rolex or can't afford a Patek, and all they want to see is Schadenfreude. The Germans have a word for it, Schadenfreude. It's just the thrill of seeing the big castle crash down, and the kick that people get out of it. It's great to see Will Smith ruin his whole career by smacking Chris Rock on the stage. It's great fun to see someone successful lose all their millions overnight. Everybody gets a secret thrill out of it. And in the watch world, it couldn't be more applicable, because there's a lot of guys out there who have their best watches is a Longines or something like that. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with those watches. They're great watches. And I love Seiko. I talk about Seiko all the time, and they're under $1,000 in most cases. But they look at the Rolex crowd and the AP crowd and the Patek crowd, and it just pisses them off for exactly the same reason as you're in traffic and you're driving a Honda Civic and the guy next to you has a Rolls Royce, and you immediately call him an asshole, even though you've never met him or anything. You just go, look at that prick with his fucking big car. And it's the same stuff. It's a punching upward. It's a very comfortable feeling to punch upward always. Punching downward happens, but it's rarer in the world than punching upward. Punching upward happens constantly on every level of life. And the pretty girl looks at the really hot girl and goes, fucking bitch, I bet she redid her nose. They're not real
plastic surgery.
Just constant punching upward, because that's a place of security. And it happens in the watch world more than anything I've ever seen in my life. And I just feel like there's a crowd out there who just want to see Rolex die. They want to see Patek die, and they want to see everyone to go down with them. So there's a certain bunch of YouTubers and influencers who have capitalized on that and said, I'm going to get that crowd in to my crowd. And
it's the Trump effect.
Well, why is that?
It's the same thing that, Trump did in politics. He galvanized group. It's the same.
He galvanized, yeah. Right. I see what you're saying. So, yeah, it's like I'm getting away from the elite. I have my own funding. I have my own money, etc., etc. I see what you're saying. So, for me, I don't really give a shit about these tiny channels. There's a red-faced dude who looks like fucking Santa Claus drunk or whatever. Don't fucking say the name. Sorry, we're not promoting anyone tonight except for you guys.
He's not called Colonel Sanders, but that's who I call him.
Oh, Colonel Sanders. Sorry, I didn't want to. And fine, like if he can make an audience out of that, and that's fine. But I just when it comes to the bigger players. Who they have a responsibility. We all have a responsibility, and you have to speak the truth. it's great to see prices come down, make things more affordable. Yeah, the gray market was in a frenzy a few years ago. That's long gone now at this point, and things have recorrected back to pretty much where they were, if not higher, from before that. But when I see these bigger players with bigger voices and bigger platforms be a little irresponsible about it, it pisses me off. I'm just like, well, why are you doing that?
And can I make?
Are you that fucking desperate for fucking clicks? Like, stop it.
Can I just sharpen that point up to one little bit? Everything you're saying, I totally agree with. The other thing I would also say, just to put a finer point on this, there's a difference between expressing your opinion, getting things wrong, and making mistakes, and obviously then correcting those mistakes if you're an honest broker of information, and engaging in outright deception. Right? You can call it lies, you can call it half-truths, you can call it omissions, whatever, but when you're not providing full context and you're doing it on purpose. That's the distinction I make. So it's one thing for
Adrian didn't go and get examples from different dealers, which is what I did today and what Brenny did, right? We actually went to dealers and said, hey, what would you give me for... Adrian just went, oh, these are the watch charts. And this is based on the watch charts.
This is very general information.
The watch charts are always fucking super, super extra low. I feel like they have an agenda as well, those guys. I don't know what. I never trusted the watch charts. I tried to draw an average between all the various outlets out there. And honestly, just use, like I did with the Brit Pierce video where I was walking through the city going, okay, great, I'm going to go walk into my AD. And then I get fucking laughed out of a couple of ADs. I'm like, what's the reality on the ground versus
and everybody's
your
is different.
Pontification?
Every market is going to be different. Again, trying to get a Rolex in San Francisco is a much different experience than trying to get a Rolex in Destin, Florida. Like, those are very different experiences. Again, I can only speak for the U.S., but these bigger markets, that has a lot to do with it. The prices have a lot to do with it. Selling a watch in California, you're going to get more money for it because they're going to sell it for more money in California than they would in Michigan or Minneapolis or Chicago. There's going to be fluctuations. So there's so much to it that if you want to make a real dense video with all that information in there and actually provide people with accurate, concise information and be very meticulous about it, I think they know no one's clicking on that video. But if you put up a picture of a Rolex Submariner, a weird face with the O expression, and Rolex Submariner under MSRP, everybody's clicking on that video because they want to know, hey, did something happen? Did a nuclear bomb go off somewhere? And all of a sudden Rolex, like, they don't know. So, and again, this is not just, I think we take into account our, I don't want to say it, for my case, expertise. I don't have expertise in this. I have, some level of enthusiasm, but I think a lot of times we take into account the current audience that we have, or you guys have. I don't have a fucking audience. But the newbies, there's constantly new people coming into this space and they don't know. They go into YouTube and they type in Rolex Submariner, and the videos that pop up, they're going to start clicking through those, and the algorithm will keep feeding them more suggestions. This is what I'm saying.
They have a huge responsibility with a large audience.
Absolutely.
And people are fucking convinced. Brenny made an actual video about this, not a live stream, an actual video earlier this evening. And I was in the comments. I was letting people know what I thought about it. And there was one person going, he's absolutely right. Adrian Berger's absolutely right. And then I made a comment. I think it was a she, actually. And she was like, I watch your stuff too. I like your stuff too. And I'm like, that's nice and all, but I feel fucking bad for you that you just fucking swallow that horse shit right out of the gate, like without any proof or anything. It's just, this is based on the watch charts. Pick up the phone and call an actual dealer and say, hey, I just picked up, lie, whatever, pretend, I just picked up a brand new stainless steel sub-date today from the authorized dealer. It's unworn and it's in the box. How much can you give me? And they're not going to offer you less than what you paid. They're going to offer you more. If it's a load more, no. Probably not. Probably as what was the quote you got? $1,000?
Probably a
Exactly,
grand more.
£1,000 profit immediately.
Yeah, I got 15 in euros. So it's a bit more, but yeah. So
a lot of the Americans are getting confused about taxes. They think there's tax on it. In the United Kingdom, the retail price includes tax.
Here's the price, yeah. Only America does that, yeah.
When I sell it to the grey market dealer, the price he's giving me is that, so I actually get £1,000. But there's a lot of S-wits in my comment saying there's still no profit in there because they're adding tax on top of the MSRP when it's already included. They're getting confused.
Yeah, and even that varies in the United States because certain dealers will not charge you tax because their state doesn't have sales tax. So if you buy a watch,
you don't have to.
Yeah, if you buy a watch from Tennessee, that's the price. So you're going on Nashville Watches, that's the price. Whatever he has on his website, that's the price. You're not paying taxes on it.
And just to clarify, my motivation isn't to protect the value of my watches. It's none of that. I'm done buying them now. I'm telling you this, that if a Rolex Submariner, not a Subdate, was for sale now at a Rolex AD and it was worth $1,000 less on the grey market, I would run and buy it.
Yeah,
I'm not buying these to make money. I'm buying this for the love of watches. But I'm telling you, those days will not happen for years because Rolex controls the market and they only get 20 subs a year, 25 sub dates, and between 11 and 13 Starbucks, and that's not going to change. So
yeah, and there's thousands of people wanting one.
I would love them to become available, and I'm not doing this because they're worth more if you get them. I would love a Submariner because they're just a great watch, a fantastic clasp. Any of you that own it, you will agree with me on the clasp of a Submariner. It's incredible.
It's my only watch.
So it wouldn't matter to me. I'm just trying to protect people who will listen to Adrian Barker. 100,000 people have watched that video. On a 9-minute video, most people are gone by minute 4.5. And he said everything about what he wanted to say within 4 minutes, 19 seconds. Everything else after that.
And that's that's probably mission accomplished for him.
Mission accomplished. Bullshit accomplished. Bullshit mission accomplished. Let's annoy all the collectors and let them think that they can buy one.
And us talking about it now isn't helping that either. It's probably gathering more views. People probably want to go over and see for themselves the video. So if that's the objective, and that's what I'm saying, this is like you have to be careful who you think, who you believe, who you're listening to, and what their agenda is. He might be saying to himself, "Oh, this is great. They're talking about my video. Brilliant. That's going to push it up the algorithm. Who gives a shit?"
Yeah.
A person who thinks these people care about your well-being or your watch purchase activity should be a rude awakening. They don't care about you saving money or getting on the list or hoping or whatever. They're out to get their clicks. And it's a dark reality, but this is the reality of it. I used to say this before I was a full-time YouTuber, that you should be very wary of the full-time YouTubers, because once it becomes full-time, that's their income, and now they're no longer going to be an objective person. They're no longer going to have just a regular opinion about watches. They're going to actually have an agenda because they've got bills to pay like the rest of us. Now I'm a full-time YouTuber and I have to juggle with, I have to balance that. You know, I get sent brands constantly and I tell them no because I can't show my audience that shit. Give me an angle. Give me something real to show them. I'd like you to pay me to promote your brand, but I need something. I've got to show my audience something interesting. Otherwise, they won't watch me anymore. Billy P is blowing up my chat here. In the United States, New York City, you're going to get less than retail now for a sub. They have so many subs being sold to them, it's ridiculous. I'd like to see the proof of that, Billy P. I'd like to see the proof, because if you walk out of the AD with a brand new sub, I can't think. I mean, I even watched the flippers on 47th Street, going, "Oh, I just paid 12 for this. I want to get 12.5." You know, that's above the retail. So it's like, what are you talking about? Do you have anything to refer to there?
I mean, listen, I'm looking right now. A 2025.
There's no subs that are 2024, 2025, 2026 that are below MSRP in the United Kingdom.
I mean, I'm looking right now. I mean, I don't want to promote the guy, but I guess we could if you wanted to. But the 2025 Submariner, A 2025 Submariner, the Cermet, is 15.5, and this is probably the lowest price you're going to find. Another one, 2025 unworn Cermet, is 16.
You mean you call it Starbucks? You mean the Starbucks?
The Starbucks, yeah. I mean, what
So
are
this
they
is
at retail? 11?
in the United Kingdom. They're 50 quid less than 10K now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's at retail. So you're telling me that you go to a gray dealer, they have the same watch listed at 5,000 over, 6,000 over MSRP, and they're going to offer you 1,000 less or what you paid and justify a
Okay.
$6,000 profit?
So there is a 2026 new sub from a local dealer. This is one of the guys I contacted. He wants 12,950. It's a 2026. It's brand fucking new. He wants 12,950. So he's making nearly 2,000. So if someone bought that, he gave them 800 to 1,000 on what they paid at least. This guy doesn't make a huge margin. He's the kind of guy who pumps out brand new unworn Rolexes, 50 a week, 60 a week, just, making $500, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
He's a killer. So that's what he's looking for. 12,950 in euros. So come on, like, fuck off. It's like, why are we listening? I just listen. All I ask for from, and this is the topic of the thing. It isn't necessarily about the market. It's about what people are listening to and the responsibility of various YouTubers, which has always fucking annoyed me. Don't deceive people. You can have your opinion. You can even say, hey, I think it's going this way in the future. And, then it's just conjecture. But please be responsible about what the hell you're saying. You can't mislead people deliberately based on what you think you would like to see in the market. It's simply not true that a person will lose money on a sub when they get allocated one at the AD. It's just simply not true. Maybe you hope that will happen in 6 months or a year or 4 years now, we're counting, since the apparent crash. Okay. But until that happens, please don't report on it. Don't make a video on it and so on, because then you're just being irresponsible. Maybe you're looking for the clicks. Maybe you're looking for the hype. Maybe you don't give a shit about your audience. You clearly don't. But I'm here as another guy in the room to go, hey, hang on a minute. Here's my 2 cents. And that's what I'm doing right now for the audience.
Oh, there you go. You heard it here first.
Canadian watchmaker. Again, don't forget taxes. Taxes are different over here in Europe, as Brenny was trying to say. I don't know about Canada, but I believe the United States is one of the only places where the price tag on an item in a store is not the price you pay. Yeah. Something people have to get used to when they go on holiday to New York for the weekend. They walk into a store and the can of Coke is a couple of dollars, and then they wind up paying 35 cents extra. It's the tax gets lobbed on when you bring it to the till, the register to pay to leave the store. That's not a thing we do anywhere else in the world. It's just not a thing. Sorry. When you see the price of a watch here, or price of pretty much anything, that's the price. They've already built in the tax into the price. It's just the way it is. So it varies across the states. That's why they have to do it last minute, I assume. But and if you're buying furniture in Jersey, it's got no tax, which is why a lot of New Yorkers go to IKEA in Jersey instead of IKEA in Brooklyn, because there's no tax on furniture. Every different state has something that's not taxed. It's like they all divvy up, like, what are we going to tax? Who's going to tax what? So it's a mad confusing system over there. I don't know about Canada if they do the same thing, but over here, the price tag is the price.
Yeah, and
strangely, I know, aren't we weird?
You guys are odd. Yeah, but all those details are very critical. Again, if you're going to talk about any topic that has complexity and nuance, and you have a deliberate effort to not address that complexity and nuance, you're by definition misleading people, right? Especially if you know that a portion of that audience doesn't also know that there is complexity and nuance in that topic. and you're painting with these broad strokes. You're saying things like the market without differentiating between gray market, large, resellers, individual peer-to-peer sales, Chrono 24. You're just kind of lumping everything into the market. You're cherry picking examples of maybe the lowest price you found on Chrono 24 versus the highest price you found or were quoted by a dealer. And you're just putting those specific pieces out. There's just a symmetry of information there. And like you said, if you're in a position of authority or responsibility for any topic, you should be responsible and have that, be part of your actual message, to be clear, concise, and honest.
But we're on about brand new, unworn, full sets, everything tickety-boo.
Yes.
A Submariner can be cheaper because the white tag's missing. A Submariner can be cheaper because the guy wore it 5 times. There's so many nuances to it. But what Adrian Backer clearly said is that don't bother going to Rolex AD to buy a Submariner date, because you will get offered less than MSRP for it. And it's a good thing, and people will be able to walk in and buy them now, because it's not a flipper's market anymore.
I bought a sub in, what was it, 2019 or something, for my AD here, and I spent 7,800 sub date, 7,800 euros. Can you believe it? And I was offered. I wasn't in the market for it. I already had one. And I was like, fuck it. And it was coming up to Christmas. And I reached out to a guy who's a watch mender who also has people he can sell to. I was like, would you be interested in this? And this was within weeks of buying it. I'm ashamed to say, but maybe I should have kept it. But he gave me 9,500 for it. And I believe he probably moved it on for 10,000. So he made a quick 500 for himself. And it was a side gig for him. He's a watch repair guy. So what did I make? I made 1,700, right? And at the time, I remember thinking, wow, I just made a clean 1,700 so easily. Now, things went they went astronomical after that. And even to today, you can sell a Pepsi for nearly twice. In fact, I just heard today that the Pepsis apparently are going back up again because of the rumors of it being discontinued. It always happens around this time of year. But it's funny to me that back then, making 500 or $1,000 or 1,500 on the watch was an absolute, it was an incredible thing. It's just people got mad spoiled when they started seeing people making 10,000 or 20,000 on a watch, or they'd get allocated a Daytona and it was worth 3 times what they paid all of a sudden. Or remember the Tiffany dial OP41? How crazy was that? It was only $5,000 and people were getting 45 for it on the gray. So these were the exceptions. These were the mad moments. That doesn't mean that, as Brenny said earlier, $1,000 isn't a profit. Of course it is.
Yeah.
You know what I
and
mean?
You're doing no work almost.
Almost zero, yeah.
It's the most minimal effort. The most
They're giving you a
minimal
glass
effort.
of champagne for the pleasure of picking this thing up. Now, again, I don't recommend anybody do this kind of thing. Don't buy a watch and walk out and go down the street and flip it immediately. You are now a flipper. If they catch you doing it, you're going to get blacklisted. Please don't do that. But do whatever you feel like, whatever, take your own risks. But that's my advice. But for influencers to go online and go, oh, now, listen, Adrian made the point that this is the end of the flipper. First of all, the flipper has already come to an end because there isn't big money in it anymore. The flippers were really getting out of control years ago because there was a lot of money in it. Flippers are going to be fewer these days because it is a lot of work. How are you going to get allocated that no date sub or the date sub? It could take a long time to do it, and in the end, all you make is $1,000. Boo-hoo, So I'm sure there are a lot fewer flippers nowadays than there were 3 or 4 years ago. But it doesn't mean that there's nothing to be made. And by misleading the audience and saying you're going to get offered less, you're going to pay $9,950 and get offered $8,850 or whatever when you walk out the door, it's just. That's not.
And even the flippers, there's layers to that, because some of the flippers they're not buying brand new watches from the AD. They're buying watches from the public. So they're probably lowballing some of these people because the
Well, I
person
think he
just wants
means the
to.
people who infiltrate the ADs.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you watch some of the more prominent, like 47th Street guys, a lot of the watches they're buying, they're not brand new watches from the AD that they're getting or somebody's getting for them. They're buying them from other customers. You know, a guy maybe had a Submariner for a couple of years and wants to sell it. So he goes to, 47th Street, sells it to a guy. That guy then moves it on and sells it to a new end user. And he might make, $500 or something, again, but there's still profit in it. So the idea that, because there is an astronomical profit in it, that market is dead, that's, again, it's misleading and it's just blatantly inaccurate.
I'm going to let
I
you
don't
guys
know.
move on with your evening. Sorry,
Can
go
I
ahead,
say one
Brendan.
last thing? I don't
Yeah.
know what the grey market dealer is paying, but the end user, myself, nearly bought a brand new unworn Pepsi 4 weeks ago for $16,995, and I hesitated and it went. And that would have been £6,945 above MSRP. So it's not going for double in the United Kingdom, Ocean, the Pepsi.
Not quite double, no. It's under
Yeah.
double, right?
Yeah, it's under double.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
but,
Well,
so
but
that's the same
but-
everywhere. That's the same everywhere. It's kind of like 80% instead
No,
of
there's the
100%.
flipper. If the grey market dealer is able to sell it to me for $16,995, he's obviously given the flipper probably $5,000, which is
Okay.
half what it's worth.
Okay.
So the market is one of the funniest things is the Sprite. All those people that bought the Sprites,
Yeah, I
thinking
know.
they were gonna
That's
make money.
dropped. That's dropped a lot.
They can't even give them away now. My grey market dealer is selling Sprites for $11,995. He just sold
Really?
one unworn for $11,995.
Yeah, I heard that one dropped a lot.
Oh yeah, because nobody wanted the bloody thing. It's an abomination, right? So who the hell? I'm a Kithog, right? I would never wear one, right? Do we need to tell people what a Kithog is or not? I never wear it left-handed. No way. Even though I wear my watches on effectively the wrong wrist, I would never wear that bloody horrible watch. But yeah,
Yeah. You either love it or you hate it. It's a
That's
Marmite watch, as they say.
It's definitely an acquired taste.
an abomination, right?
Thank you guys for I appreciate the opportunity to participate in yet another sanity check. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
And
guys,
thanks
go
for,
over and
thanks
check
for
out
doing it.
John's Substack, johnlrichard.substack.com. Some interesting articles there, including this one, another tourist trap, the Dead Watch Market myth. It's quite good. There's a couple of spicy attacks in there as well.
Some subliminal shots.
Yeah, I
And
heard
apparently
them,
very
I laughed at
timely.
it. Yes.
Yeah, very, very timely and very contemporary. So I'm glad. Again, I wrote that before this even happened. So it's interesting how life imitates art.
Isn't it funny like that? Yeah. And there's the link in the chat, guys. You can click straight on it and download the Substack app. And then, of course, we have Brendan Boswell.
I'm good.
Solid
You don't
YouTube
have to-
channel.
you don't-
I
you
know.
don't-
Brenny's always like, "Don't plug me. Don't plug me. I don't need the plugging. It's fine. It's not about the plug. But I'm gonna plug you anyway, you fucker." So there you are. There's Brenny Boswell. Give him a sub.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys go, and I'll keep chatting to the audience. There's a lot of people snowed in on the eastern seaboard. Perhaps they need a little company.
Good seeing you guys.
We'll move on from this subject.
Yeah, Bernie, good seeing you again. Oshin, always good to see you.
buddy.
Thank you for the shout out. And everybody have a good night.
Good night, fellas. Take care. There it is, guys. Good chat. Good chat. It's also would be nice if you could see your. No, you can't see John's face. It's not his name either. He works for the U.S. government. We can't. We have to go to great lengths to keep his identity anonymous. He's normally been on talking about way more serious topics, so we have to keep it anonymous, unfortunately. But still a good guest. It's great to have these kind of guests on. It's quality. Brenny the Bulldog. Yes, Charles. Yes. You know what? Rennie he's got his own business. He has his day job. He doesn't need to suck anyone's dick. He doesn't have any obligation to anyone, so he's able to say whatever he wants. And he's a straight shooter, and that's what you want in this watch game. That's what you want, because you're going to get the real opinion, aren't you? You're going to get the truth, and it might hurt, and it usually does hurt, but at least you get it. I'm going to put on this old subby. Just speaking of no date subs, this is the 5512 that my friend here with the store is selling. It's classic. I had this on Friday. Figured I'd stick it back on because it's kind of part of the topic. The CDM, it's all pretend. They can give whoever they want to watch in whatever order they want. There's no actual list. I think a lot of people agree with that. I think John made that point as well this evening. Listen, if you're, perhaps the list is there and they can see it from the corner of their eye. So if there's no one ready to buy the watch, they might look over to the list and go, well, who's next? And do we like them? But the truth is, if you're next and they're about to pick up the phone and call you, offering you the watch, but then some big shot with a huge spend history calls and says, hey, I'm coming in at 11:30 a.m. I'd like a coffee ready, and I want to take a look at some pieces. They might say, oh, hold off. You have to remember as well, a lot of these pieces that are very sought after are sought after for many reasons, but also because they're very affordable. There's a lot more guys out there with 10 grand for a Submariner than there are with 80 grand for the Platinum Day Date or whatever it costs these days. Just more guys out there who have the 10 grand to spend than a guy with 50 or 80 grand or whatever. So these automatically become the more sought after pieces because you can still have a Rolex on your wrist and you didn't spend 50 grand or 80 grand or whatever. So it's one of the reasons why they're sought after. But you have to remember, all these big players, they come in and they get allocated a Rainbow Daytona or something off catalog that costs over 100 grand because they've been buying watches in there for years, decades maybe. They own a local business where all the employees, especially the manager, likes to go. Perhaps it's a restaurant or a hotel or something, and they like to be a preferred customer when they walk in that door. There's all sorts of, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, right? And a lot of these fuckers come in, they're in their 50s or 60s, and they buy the $100,000 watch, and they go, okay, oh, by the way, my son's turning 25 tomorrow. Do you have a no-date sub just lying around? I'd like to grab one for, oh, yes, certainly. It doesn't matter who is on the list and who is about to, their dreams are about to come true. They're going to go, oh, sorry, oh, absolutely, yeah, something for your son, certainly, yeah, there you go, there's a no-date sub. And then you never get the call. You never knew you were about to get the call. The call just never came. This is the way it works. Kabi Wan, they only make 1 million Rolex a year. Nowhere near enough. And the games begin. You have to remember the 1 million watches a year. I know a lot of people use that. They kind of say, oh, it's 1 million watches a year. How are they selling 1 million Rolexes? The truth is the catalog is massive. The catalog is enormous, guys. And if you divide it down, you begin to start seeing the numbers. If you do the math, how many different kinds of Rolex are there? Land Dweller, Day Date. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Right now, there are 15 different subsections. And within each one, you have different ones. So, of course, you've got the Submariner, which divides down between the no date, of course, which is the classic, and then you have the date that comes in how many different variations. You have you can go for the Starbucks version, or you can go for two-tone, either in black or blue. Then you're into yellow gold, either in black or blue, and then white gold, which only comes in the blue and the black like that. So now you've already divided down into 7 or 8 different types. And when you go through the catalog, especially when you get to the date just, which really, I mean, Submariner is a tiny subsection compared to date just. As usual, the fucking website doesn't work very well. Sorry about that. I'll just fucking white. Anyway, it divides. I mean, how many different ones are there? Now you have to look at all the ADs that are out there. There's thousands of them. Now divide the million. The million very, very quickly gets diluted down. Now, I think it makes sense to assume that they make more of certain models than others. They certainly make more steel models than they make of gold. But I'll tell you this 5512, which is considered the original and the greatest Submariner by many, was also coupled with the 5513 around the same time. They were both in the catalog, which I think is kind of odd. It was an odd moment in their production. They made 151,000 of the 5513s in 20 years. That's not very many in 20 years. Between like 1960 and 79, something like that. The exact years escape me right now. 151,000. You know how many they made of the 5512? 17,000. When I had my bluesy, my gold bluesy, those numbers finally came out in this book here that I have lying right here. It has they finally released the official numbers. They made a certain amount of the two-tone, of the steel. They only made, in something like 25 or nearly 30 years, they only made 23,000 of those gold ones. That's all that's out there. When you divide it over those years, it's actually quite few. So you have to do the math, divided by the number of ADs that are out there. I'll tell you guys this again, but my guy here, my AD, I know him from outside the AD. Like, I actually know him personally. His mother passed away, and I went over to see if he was okay and all of that. He's been in my house. He actually filmed when I did the Canali modeling gig, and there was a photographer and the other person. He was the guy filming it. He was the fourth person that you don't ever see. He's the guy holding the camera. And he came over to check out the camera one night that he was going to use for that. And I had just picked up Daytona ceramic steel. It was my first ceramic steel Daytona. It's a black one, my favorite. Everyone loves the Panda, but my favorite is the black. And I said, "Hey, look what I picked up today." And he's sitting in my kitchen, he's out, not working. And he was like, "Oh, look at that." And he goes, "You know how many of these I've seen come through the store in all my years?" He, at the time, that was 3 years ago, he at the time was with Rolex here in Venice, one of the richest cities in the world, for 22 years. 22 years he had been with them. He's like, "You know how many of these I've seen come through the store? Maybe 2 ever. In Venice, where the richest people on earth come to, where they park. Diane Furstenberg parks her fucking enormous yacht around the corner, and George Clooney comes here with his wife every fucking year. It's like the wealthiest of the wealthy come through here, and Monaco. They're the 2 hot spots of Europe. There's 2 Rolex ADs within 80 feet of each other here. And he saw a couple of those ceramic Daytonas come through his store after 2 decades. So people they shoot out this number. They go, it's 1 million watches a year. First of all, that's not confirmed either. It's just an educated guess. when I first started doing this stuff with watches, everyone would say it was 700,000 watches a year. That's what everyone would say. And then it was like Chinese whisper. It just got bigger and bigger and more exaggerated. Next thing was 800,000. Oh, it's 1 million. Oh, it's 1.2 million. People just start saying, there's no, confirmation or evidence of that. They just make a guess. But even if it is, it divides down, guys. It really divides down. What's that? Recalcitrant. Two of you are liberally misquoting Adrian Barker, and the other hasn't even seen the video. For fuck's sake, unsubscribe. It's true that John hadn't seen the video, but we're not misquoting him at all. In fact, we're directly quoting him. So you're 1/3 correct. And please, if you watch that fucking shit, you don't need to subscribe to me. Please don't. In fact, $145 different variations. Granu, is that true? Is that do you mean within Datejust alone? Because of course Datejust is 41, 36, 31. Or are you talking about overall through the entire catalog? Let me know. Anybody in the winter storm? Anybody in New York, Boston, surrounding areas watching snow coming down? Let me know. How bad is it? New York's -3 degrees right now. It's coming up on 7 p.m. That's right. It's heavy, heavy snow right now, all the way through the night, I think, till midnight. Okay. Look at that. It looks like during the week it's going to get sunny. It'll still be cold, but it'll be sunny. What that means is the snow just turns to ice then. That's the problem in New York. There's one thing, the snow. The next thing is dealing with it just sitting there on the streets. It turns into sludge. It turns black, dirty and filthy, and all the trash in it and so on. It's a gross, it's a horrible thing to deal with in New York. The corner of the street we were trying to cross, you have to go around because it's just like a big puddle of shit. New York is brutal during the winter and brutal during the summer. New York is brutal. Full stop. Don't know why we all put up with it. I did for 20 years. Please and thank you. Oh, just a nice -17 Celsius here tonight. Wow. 20th century storming in Oakville, Canada. Yeah, Canada gets hit pretty hard, right? Chris is on the Upper East Side. We got about a foot here so far. Is it still snowing, Chris? Or has it stopped? Just 2112, are you going to shoot over to USA to see Rush? I don't feel like going to the USA right now, no. I have a visa, 10 years. I don't really feel like going over there right now. Ooh, what's going on? And from what I hear, the Rush shows are already sold out and stuff. I'll be curious to see how that new drummer does. It's going to be big shoes to fill. I don't really feel like going to the States. A lot of people I know who are in the States feel like moving over here now. They've had enough. Also, if they're checking people's phone and social media history, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. You guys have been boasting that you have freedom of speech for so long. Now it's fucking gone. Gone. And not a peep. Amazing. It's one of the beautiful things about the country. You could say fuck the president and no one could do anything about it. Because that's your bloody right. That's your right as a citizen to say whatever you want. Now, not so much. It's also funny as well that so many people were stockpiling arms in their house for so long, thinking, what if the government takes over and starts ripping people off the streets? And now that that's exactly what's happening. People are getting shot cold blood on the streets. Nobody's reaching for their rifle because the guys who own the rifles don't have a problem with it. That's rough. What happened to that gentleman yesterday? The nurse. It was very, very sad. Poor guy. Poor guy. The thing that hit me the most was what happened with Renee Good there a couple of weeks ago. Didn't recalibrate ICE at all. They didn't say, fuck guys, let's take it easy, you know. Don't fucking pull your gun unless absolutely necessary or whatever. They didn't learn anything from that. It emboldened them. They're caught on tape saying things like, haven't you learned? To protesters, you know, conscientious observers. They're going, haven't you learned? Haven't you seen the way it is? You know, it emboldened them. Fuck. But it's, listen, all the protests and all the TikTok posts in the world aren't going to change anything. You want to change shit over there, you have to get hardcore. Sorry, we know all about this shit in Europe. You know, fucking ask the Irish Republican Army. They stopped asking nicely a long time ago. Then the bombing started. Ask Fidel Castro. Ask fucking Hamas. The asking nicely doesn't work. You have to bring it up to the new level. If Americans want shit to change, they have to bring it to a new level. Otherwise, just stay at home and eat cake and watch The Simpsons. Because unless you're ready to rock and roll, they ain't listening. They're watching your protests on the streets, which is lovely and it's heartwarming and all of that. See Americans come together and care for one another. But they're watching it going, look at that, how cute that is. They're not going to listen until shit gets heavy. If it was an affront to the right, then shit would get heavy because the right are armed to the teeth. The right in America are all fucking, they're armed heavily. And they have super paranoia about the state, about the government. But it's not going to happen because it's the left, and the left aren't violent like that. The left are stupid. They're annoying. And at worst, they'll throw a fucking garbage can through a window of a store. But they're not violent like the right are dangerous. They'll shoot you. Because that's what they've been practicing for years. The left have been playing guitar and writing poetry. It's the right that they're the guys with the guns. So as long as the agenda suits them, there won't be any revolution. There won't be any power of the people. Won't be any of that. So there's nothing that can be done. It's great to end on a political note, isn't it? Mark in Brooklyn. Trump, only criminals carry guns. DHS, only criminals carry phones. Yeah, so, I mean, look, the hypocrisy is nuts. What's his name? Kyle Rittenhouse or whatever his fucking name is, who showed up at BLM with a fucking big... Whereas this guy, he's allowed to own a gun. Carries his gun around on him. He wasn't using it. He didn't point it at anyone. He didn't even reach for it. It's already taken off him before he was gunned down. 10 times, right? Or 8 times, something like that. They put a bunch of bullets in him, and they said, boo-hoo. So we can add that to the list. So now we have fucking bitch, right, from a couple of weeks ago. Now we have boo-hoo. These are memes now. You can put it on a t-shirt. Fucking bitch and boo-hoo. It's a sad thing, but the truth is, as much as I love Americans and have a strong relationship with the United States after being there for 20 years and so on, and, you know, members of my family being American, it's true that somebody said it's like Germany in the 30s, that 1/3 of the population would happily watch another third of the population be exterminated, while the third third watches without doing anything, sits back and watches. And it's true that in many ways Americans hate Americans, you know, that Americans hate other Americans more than anyone else across the pond hates any of them, you know. There's more vitriol, there's more ire, more hatred between a right-wing, gun-tooting, tobacco-chewing Republican toward the woke, toward lesbians and gays and so on, than even Iran has for any of them. That dude hates Renee Good more than Iran hate Renee Good or any of them. Isn't that terrible? There's a lot of hatred among the people there. It's a very sad thing. Luckily, they aren't able to act on that hatred because they don't have access to deadly weapons. Oh, wait. Shit. John, man, listen, our government is involved in spraying chemicals over. So you're a chemtrail guy? You don't know about vapor trails, man? All over the United States, blasting our skies daily in Southern California. I'm not surprised you're from Southern California, by the way. I know a lot of people. It's not conspiracy. It's happening. John, I don't know what to tell you, John. That's interesting. How much do you know about the science of vapor trails, first of all? And my second, I'm not against conspiracy theory, you know. I'm always open to hearing the conspiracy theory. Sometimes they turn out to be true. You have to remember as well, sometimes the official story is a conspiracy theory, a theory about a conspiracy. So you've got to put it all in the catalog. I would say to you, John, I have one question for a guy like John. Do you believe in lots of conspiracy theories? That's the giveaway. Because if you believe that it's chemtrails, right? You see the vapor trails across the sky, and you think it's chemicals, right? Okay, maybe that's true. Do you also believe that COVID was a hoax and the vaccines are controlling of the population and the moon landing was faked and JFK was Mossad and etc. 9/11 was an inside job? Do you believe them all? Because if you do, then you need to look in the mirror. you might have a condition. If you don't have that might be the sign that you don't have critical thinking. It's a good idea to listen to all the conspiracy theories and make your own evaluation. But if you believe them all, there might be a different problem. That's all I can say. And I know conspiracy theory. I'm not unfamiliar with conspiracy theory, man. I know a lot about it, and I've read all the stuff. I'm always open to hearing it. I'm just saying, think about that. Ray Ray is watching Carlito's Way. That's a good idea during the storm. Well, there's probably a storm where Ray Ray is anyway, because that's pretty much where storms happen constantly. So he's probably holed up in his house, snug by the fire anyway. But it's a good idea to pick your favorite, as Zoran Mamdani said, pick the worst reality TV show you can find and binge watch it. Stay indoors. Every year, the mayor of New York has to say the same stuff. It's like, please, no matter how important you think that thing is that you have to cross town, please just stay at home. It's just to minimize the numbers of people slipping and fucking dropping in the snow. And I think of the first responders have to go out and find you in that snow, fucking resuscitate you. Stay in. Watch Netflix. Hopefully you stocked up. Well, Ma, which conspiracies do you believe? I think that JFK was Mossad job. That's what I believe, yeah. I don't believe in chemtrails. I think that's vapor trails. Because I'm into science and chemistry. It's pretty easily explained. The moon landing is a tough one. I actually believe in more conspiracies than you think I might. I don't know. Princess Diana. I don't know. Again, I'm open to it. I don't believe the earth is flat. That's a bad one. You really have to ignore everything we've learned as a civilization. I don't think that the COVID was invented to control the masses or anything like that. And I don't think that the vaccines were a hoax or whatever. I lived with a doctor for 2 years. It's very hard to... I recommend everyone live with a doctor for 2 years. You get a very big smack of reality. You don't understand. It's like, I don't know. I don't understand why people, when they have a problem with their car, they go to a car mechanic who sees those problems every day, and they trust the car mechanic. He could be an asshole and overcharge you, but you don't know what's going on with the car unless you're really, really handy with engines. Same with a computer problem. You have the computer technician. You've got a problem in your network in your office, and the computer technician comes along to iron out the creases. These are experts, you know. It's strange to me that a study that's been going on for 12 or 1300 years gets to be questioned by some armchair expert who fucking searches the internet. When I used to, you know, when you come up with you'd hear about some fucking drug that was taken off the shelves or something like that. You do a big search on the internet, or a little search on the internet, see what people are saying, the YouTube videos about it or whatever, and then come to some sort of conclusion. Those moments would happen when I was with the doctor. She was a high-level doctor, not I don't want to shit on other departments of the medical profession, but there are tiers, there are levels, okay? There's like a difference between a guy who plays a little piano in a bar down the street and a classical pianist who plays Brahms piano concertos with an orchestra, okay? They're both pianists, but one is a little bit on a different level. So she was one of those in the medical industry. And those moments would come along every now and then, you know. I'd be like, oh, look, they took Zantac off the shelves. And she's like, what's Zantac? Because all these drugs have names, but then they have their real name. So when we were in New York together, we walked into a pharmacy one time. She was really curious as an Italian doctor to see the prices of everything. And she's like, oh my God. She was super shocked when we were in the house and TV was on and the commercials would come on and we're all fucking for drugs. All the commercials were from Big Pharma. She's like, oh my God, look at this. It's really true. She thought it was conspiracy theory. She thought like what she had heard back in Italy, like the Americans, they see drug, commercials constantly. And she thought, oh, that can't be true. And she's like, oh my God, it's true. And then the big disclaimer at the end is super fast with the voice. Please consult your doctor if you have a pre-existing condition. Blah, 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 blah. It's all cut together. She's like, oh my God, it's fucking really happening. I'm like, yes, this is how it is. It's great to see things through other people's eyes sometimes, you know. But I remember Zantac, because I used to take Zantac because it's like for acid reflux. I used to take Zantac and then it was pulled from the shelves because apparently it's a fucking carcinogen. I'm like, oh God. I guess I escaped that one, hopefully. She's like, what the fuck is that? And then she goes, oh, it's andepecafazin, some fucking ages long word with blah, 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 then it makes sense to her. She's like, oh, okay. And now I see what it is. And she would go off into files that she's allowed access to through her studies in her hospital and go off and read for like 2 days of all this boring, long fucking shit, and then like 2 days later come back with an opinion. No Google searches or anything. I'm like, oh God, people need to see that happen. Because you spent 13 years, 12 years of your life burning your brain out, reading books this thick about every different type of blood condition and so on. And then all shitwits coming along going, I think it's a hoax thing. It's just such an we're so embarrassing. It's disgraceful what we get up to with our hypotheses and our theories. Doctors look at us and go, oh God, are you going to procreate? Oh, you are? God, shit. Please don't put more of that out into the world. Oh, you have? Oh, fuck. Great. Lucky yours. Omega fanboy. Are there lizard people amongst us all? Sometimes you do see someone that resembles a lizard. It's not good. It's not good. You kind of go, oh shit. No, I don't believe that. But sometimes then someone has a lizard look and you're like, oh God, shit. Is there truth? You're thinking of V. Remember the show from years ago? The aliens come and they look just like us, but then we discover a few episodes in, they're actually lizards with skin suits on. They're taking our water. They're after our water, which is a debunked theory because there's plenty of water to be found throughout the universe. They don't need to come to our planet. If that was what they're after, you know. Butters, hi from snowy Buffalo. Hi there, Butters. That's upstate New York. Buffalo, 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 Buffalo. You've heard that, right? New York bison, New York bison, bully, bully, New York bison. Julio, we live in the Matrix. I don't think we literally live in the Matrix, but Raphael, it was about Adrian Barker's video, then it came into this. Well, yeah, we had that discussion for about an hour and a half, and then the lads left. I think we covered all grounds, and now I'm just keeping you guys company. Anybody going through the winter storm, a lot of my audience are from the Eastern Seaboard. So, yes, I'm just, rather than flogging a dead horse or beating a thing to death, I'm moving on. We're just talking. I think we were pretty conclusive about Adrian Barker's video. He's coming to some odd conclusions. Why didn't he pick a different watch? Like, as Brenny said, pick the Air King. You know, that's under retail. Soul banked. Stainless steel sub, date or no date. They are not. If you're allocated one, you want to flip it, which, again, I'll repeat, you should not do. You might get caught. You should keep the watch anyway. It's monumental. You're very lucky to be allocated one. Very, very lucky. But if you are so inclined, yeah, you can make money. Not as much as back in 2021, 2022. We're still decent money. They'll buy it from you. They'll buy it from you in a second. Brenny was quoted 1,000. I was quoted 1,500 over retail. Then they'll go and make their 500, 800, 1,000, whatever they make. If it's brand new, that's what we're referring to. I have an obligation to come out and tell everyone, you know, Adrian can say whatever the hell he wants. It's a free country. Doesn't mean it's true. I have the obligation to come out and say, not so fast. It's not precise. Because there's a lot of people who will take it verbatim and go, oh my God, that's Bible. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't make a fool of yourself in the AD during the week going, hey, I heard. They'll look at you and go, who? Who told you what? No, we won't. We don't have one of those watches for you, sir. Sorry. If you'd like to put your name down, you'll get the same spiel. Now, if at some point in the future these watches do go for under retail, that is the end. You know, if a stainless steel sub is going for 10K and on the gray market it's gone for 7, well, then they've hit rock bottom, haven't they? Rolex are coming to their end because why buy one? Why get on the list? And that's just a stainless steel piece. If that bottoms out, by all means, get on the internet and tell everyone. I will too. But until that happens, there's a clickbait now. Andy Dufresne, good friend of mine, got the new Speedy for 15% under retail. The one with the contrasting subdials. That's the new Speedy. You have to, Andy, you should know at this point to be more specific. Paul Bird, would you take an Air King if offered from the authorized dealer? I might, because it's not that much more from the AD. It's more, but I might just take it anyway because it's a brand new watch, and you're not talking about, like, if they offer you a solid gold fucking sub, I don't think you should take it. You'll save a lot of money if you just go to the gray market and you'll find it in new condition, maybe unworn. You can save a significant amount. There's a break-off point, I think. There are certain advantages to buying a watch from the AD. Yes, one is it's your watch, your name, blah blah blah, brand new, no questions about its history or anything. That's nice. Second of all, you may be working your way up in your purchase history with them. So if it's a grand or two more, you might go, okay, it's a grand or two more, but I can afford it. And if I buy it from them, I feel like I'm going to get that call in 6 months for something. And you will, because they don't ignore the fact that you spend with them. They take that into account. At least you can say that about the ADs. They do add up what you've spent with them. So there's that too. But there's a break-off point, isn't there? If it's $500 or $1,000 more, you might go, fuck it. It's brand new. I'm the first owner. I'll work my way up. I'm getting kudos with these guys. Fucking, it's worth spending. Money isn't everything. There are more things to life, blah, blah, blah. But when you're looking at like a solid gold piece and you can get it for 15,000 less on the gray market, fuck. I don't see any reason why. I'm assuming, I don't know. I should ask my friend about this. I'm assuming that with a $50,000 GMT in gold, they're giving discounts to people who want to buy them. But they better be. They better be giving them for 45 or 43 or so. Make it worthwhile. Because otherwise you just go to the gray. I don't know how much an Air King goes for less on the market, but if it's 600, 700 less, you might go, fuck it. I'll buy it now from the AD. Fuck it. It's an extra feather in my cap with them for the spend history, and at least I have the watch now and it's brand new, blah, blah, blah. And there's more in life, more to life than money. But if it's a couple of grand, then there might be a break-off point. And that will vary depending on who you are and how much money you have and things like that. It's case by case. Rufus, Adrian Barker did give Morgan Stanley and watch charts as his reference to back his claims. I don't think that they're not real world claims. Watch charts for me it's pontification and projection, and I never found the watch charts to be particularly realistic. And I think the proof is in it right here. I mean, I reached out to 2 dealers. Brandy reached out to 1. We see the figures as well. The real world stuff is what we're talking about. Watch charts. I always look at the watch charts and take it with a pinch of salt. I'm like, kind of, maybe that's a little low. I don't know if they're being influenced by the WhatsApp groups. If you're lucky enough to get into a WhatsApp group as a trader, as a dealer, then you'll see a lot of different prices because they're all selling between each other. That's like trade price on anything. How often do you get to see trade price on products? You know, you walk into a store, a department store, you want to buy yourself a coat, Burberry coat. Do you want to see the trade price of that? I don't think you want to see it because it'll turn you off the retail price really quickly. Fairly lively, as they say in Ireland. So that's different. The sub as well is very strong. It's always been strong. If the market does belly out completely, in the end, it just completely takes a shit in the bed. The sub, I think, will be the last to go. The sub, the Pepsi, and the Panda Daytona, they'll be the final. They'll be the last ones. You know, I think. Brandon McDonald, first time caller, just getting started, thinking about collecting philosophy. More watches, but less money on each, or less pieces for more money. I think fewer pieces for more money. Yeah. It's a good question, actually. Anybody snowed in? Did you get all the supplies you need for the house? I saw Dirk was out. Dirk from the Eyebashers. He was out picking up extra butter because he wanted to make scones. I wouldn't have the first clue how to make a scone. My mother made them my whole life, and I never paid attention. But he needed extra butter, so he was out in the snow getting butter. I think that's what Mamdani means when he goes, whatever you think is so important, please consider not going out for it. But I guess he was fine. But it's funny, I remember in the snowstorms in New York years ago, there was funny memes going around the internet, like anywhere else in the world when there's a snowstorm coming in, it's like get supplies like bread, butter, milk, eggs, you know, water, things to eat, and so essentials. And the New York list was vodka, cigarettes. Because the New Yorkers are like, I don't give a shit about it. I just need booze and cigarettes and coffee, and I'm fine. That's how New Yorkers huddle up for the cold weather. Booze, cigarettes, and Netflix will get us through it. I'll just change watch then for the end. This is the 5512. It's still for sale. It's not mine. Frollo owns this. It has the service card and everything. It's a stunner. I just like putting it on. Classic. But I'll put on one of my new acquisitions here, the Breguet. Had this on at the start of the show tonight. It's the Breguet 7067 GMT. 2 time zones in rose gold. Nice watch. Any last questions before I go? Good crowd tonight. Earlier on, it was a big crowd. I guess people were tuning in because it was a spicy thumbnail. These fucking YouTubers, man. Patrick, how much for the 55, 12, 14? It's he had it listed for 18.5. Grab it for 14. It's beautiful condition. 1968 and super rare original bracelet. You never see that on them. I scoured the internet looking for one with an original bracelet, and none of them have it. They all have the service bracelet. This is the original. If you want it, you can reach out to me. I'll overnight it to you. Last week, chap bought the 5513. So he has it already on his wrist. But, the 5512 is even more collectible. With this configuration, there's a lot of different ones. There's the gilt dial, the matte dial, blah, blah, blah. You can go in. You can get very heavy into it. With this config, you're looking at about 18 to 20 on the market. He's happy with 14. He's just decided to shift. He's my good friend here. He has a store, 4 generations in watch sales and jewelry, impeccable reputation. He just decided he had a bunch of like nostalgia items in the safe. I was asking him about his 1655, but I don't think he's going to sell it. This, yeah. A lot of people consider this the best Submariner, the original and the best Submariner. All modern Submariners are based on this. And you can see it's got the dome crystal and everything. All original. 1968 and serviced in 2007 by Rolex Hong Kong. Which is cool. Overhaul, clean. Bezel inserts, clean. They didn't replace anything. Bracelet clean. Crown clean, yeah. They didn't replace any of the parts, all original. See, that's the problem. You see, you send it as a Rolex, sometimes they start replacing all the bits, especially the bracelet. So that's why it's extra rare to have this. If you're a collector, just put this in the bank. Just put it away as a piece of art. It's like the fucking Mona Lisa. It's the Mona Lisa of Submariners. Definitely the coolest Rolex I've ever had in the house. Wish I could keep it myself, but I'm renovating a house at the moment. Maybe I should just sell this thing, and I'll probably get more for this. Anyway. Euros, Patrick. What's for it? Let me do the calculation. $1 a week right now, isn't it? I had a chap send me money for the other watch. And it's like, ooh. Let me see. Euros to dollars. To USD. 14. Again, if you find one for 14 in dollars, look at the details. There's a reason why. It's 16 and a half in dollars. You can make me an offer on it if you want. I'm not making a dime. I'm just helping my friend out. You can make an offer if you want. Very weak and falling. The dollar, yeah, I know. The dollar's been rough lately. Whoa. Think of that. 14 is 16.6. Oof. was a time when they were even. I noticed the Canadian dollar getting stronger. Anybody see that? That was, turbulent there for a bit. Ray, Brigade Sunday, all day Sunday. You guys like the Brigade? Well, I still have the Turby on. But that's not mine. I'm going to sell that. This was not mine either. This was supposed to be for sale, but I was like, I love this too much. I need to keep it. Also, you got to have a Brigade in the arsenal, right? It's a work of art. It's very nice to have. It's very dressy. This, kind of seconds as a dressy watch. It's kind of a head-turning dressy watch, which is. I know I've just got a stupid T-shirt on tonight, but I would wear it with a nice, blazer and shirt and tie. Charles is stacking gold and silver. I know I have silver over here. Sorry. I should have gold over here. I don't have rose gold, though. I don't have rose gold bracelets. Yellow gold. The other one that's still here is the Piaget. This was the thinnest watch in the world for a while. Automatic winding. It's another one that I'm selling. Mind you, I might just buy it for myself. I don't know. It's so fucking stunning. It's such a beautiful dress watch. Look at that thing. Micro rotor. It's on Roca, big AD in Rome here. Roca, very famous. For 21. The cheapest one I can find on Chrono is 11. And this one you can have for 7,500. If you're a flipper, might be worth it. I'll put it on, why not? It's nice. Very elegant, Piaget is very high class. Dressy is like, it's the Cartier for the more discerning crowd. Cartier is so ubiquitous, everyone has it, even people that don't know shit have Cartier, whereas Piaget is more like for those in the know. Look how simple and beautiful it is. Look how slim. Amazing. Rose gold. Size, Charles, it's 43. You need to have a decent wrist for it. Obviously, it works well on me. Yeah, if you have a slender wrist, it's not gonna cut it. You should go for maybe a Calatrava or something. But for the bigger guys, where the Calatravas don't work, Andy Dufresne, show us the VC Chrono. Are you sure you want to see the VC Chrono? You're lucky I have it here. I had to drop stuff off at the bank yesterday. Or on Friday. Because shit can get out of hand. Be careful these days. Okay, I'll show you the VC Chrono. That one's mine. I mean, if someone wants to offer me on it, I'll take it, but it has to be a really fucking high offer. This thing is one of the best watches I have now. What's the time? Is it? Oh yeah, it's still accurate. Let's hear the wind. Although I have to say the wind out of that thing, Breguet, is like the most impressive wind I've ever heard. I just wound it up earlier, so I'm not going to try it again. But it's fucking loud. And there's a lot going on. You can tell. Wind's very. You put on the VC. VC Chrono. There's very little point in wearing anything else when you have VC in your midst. There's a VC. Actually, I can tighten that up a little. Extra. I'm back on the salads, guys. I put on weight over the Christmas, like you do. And during the freezing cold, you're like, fuck it. But now it's time. It's time to start getting back on track. I haven't eaten a thing all day. I'm going to make a salad after I get off. I enjoy my salads. I love them. It's no sacrifice. There's a PayPal. What happened with PayPal? Somebody PayPal me? Bert. And earlier I got a PayPal from our boy, from Philip. Thank you, Philip, as always. Thanks. This is the traditionnel. Chrono. It's a pretty stunning piece. Super elegance. I have two Vacherons right now. I have this and I have the square, which is not here. Yeah, this is monumental, but you'd have to offer me 20 for me to even consider it. 20th century, the Piaget is incredible. Yeah, Piaget is just ultra elegance, you know. Beautiful thing. I don't know, guys. I'd jump on it if I were you. If you don't, I might just go, oh, fuck it. But you have to understand, I've already bought some of these pieces for myself. I was asked to help sell them. In the end, I bought a couple myself. I'm like, fuck. This is not. It's like talking to a junkie, offering a junkie drugs. Ever had an overseas retard slow? I've never had an overseas. And I remember looking at a white dial, silver dial one in a store here years ago before they were popular. Then they became kind of the alternative to the Nautilus or the Royal Oak for a while. But I don't think they're that anymore. And as much as I like the overseas, I think I like this. I like the getting a slightly more gentlemanly classic BC, something that appeals to me a bit more. But maybe I'm just convincing myself of that. People tend to do that, you know, with their watch that they have. They tend to convince themselves it's the greatest. And it's a good idea to do that. That way you remain happy with your purchase. And you should be. There's always that phenomenon, like the watch that you appreciate the least is the one that's actually on your wrist. You're staring at all other people's watches or browsing Chrono 24, lusting after all the stuff. Meanwhile, you have a perfectly good watch on your wrist that if you didn't own, you'd probably be lusting after. Yeah. Shall I close it up? That was a good show. Interesting chat with the boys. Hopefully the message got through. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Chuck D, right? Chuck D and Flavor Flav, Public Enemy. Don't believe the hype. All right, let me go make a salad. If anybody wants one of those, which ones were they? Oh yeah, the Piaget and that sub. I'll shed a tear to see it go, but it's not mine anyway. So what the fuck am I complaining about? It's a highly collectible sub. I can see the appeal of the vintage sub. Definitely. Man, when I went like scouring the internet for info on this, because I already knew about the sub, but I wanted more info. Every different channel has a video about that going, this is why this is the greatest sub ever made. ID Guy, Austin Daniels, etc., etc. The long list of them all going, this is the quintessential Submariner. I was like, fuck. I mean, I knew what it was, but I didn't know exactly what it was. I can see it now. It's a beauty. All right, guys. Listen, safe. If you're on the Eastern Seaboard, stay safe. Don't leave the house if you don't have to. Hopefully you stockpiled. You have coffee. You have food in the fridge. You have Netflix. Stay in. Browse Chrono 24. Lust after watches that you don't own. Watch your favorite YouTubers. Go back and watch some of my old episodes that you love. Go watch the Ireland documentaries. That's 3 hours. It'll kill 3 hours. Or Interstellar. Or Verona. Or one of those. And open a bottle of wine. Or whatever. Or whiskey. Or a can of beer. Or coffee. Or whatever your thing is. Have a cigar if that's your thing. And you're allowed to crack the window. Sit next to the window with the cold outside. Huddle up and wait for it to just pass. Don't go out there in that. Don't shovel the snow. Shoveling snow is very, very taxing on the body. An ex-girlfriend of mine lost her daddy that way. He went out and shoveled the snow and came in and fell down. Unless you're extremely fit and used to lifting weights every single day, do not shovel snow because it is extremely taxing on the system. You'll shock your system if you're not super, super fit. And you'll be out breathing cold air and lifting heavy snow. And it'll put too much strain on you. Don't do it. If there's some kids in the area looking for money to do it, pay them. Some fucking 18-year-old kids with brand new pumping hearts with no problems. Give them their $50 or $100 or whatever they want to do it. Pay the kids to do it. Don't do it yourself. Okay? All right, guys. Take it easy. Peace, love. See you soon. Thanks for the super chats, guys, and the PayPals.